I'm Professor Prem Vrat, Pro-Chancellor, Professor Eminence and Chief Mentor at the NorthCap University, Gurgaon. Earlier, this university was known as ITM University, and I had joined this university in September 2011 as its Vice Chancellor. And prior to that, I was the founder director of IT Roorkee. I had held almost every position in IT Delhi as Professor, Head, Dean, Deputy Director and Director in charge. I was Vice Chancellor UP Technical University Lucknow and was Professor Eminence at MDI Gurgaon before joining this. For a brief period of 3 years, I was Professor and Division Chairman at the Asian Institute of Technology, Bangkok.
Thank you, sir. Yes. Now to begin, like you said before, you've held key positions in education institutes throughout your professional career. So, what are the key factors that keep you connected with the education sector?
Actually, I've been in education for now, teaching for now nearly 52 years. And all the 52 years in some way or the other associated with IT Delhi. I joined IT Delhi as a lecturer in 1968, 52 years back, and retired from there in 2006 after 38 years of full time. And since then, I've been an honorary professor there. I still teach in IT Delhi, in addition to the other roles that I have. Now, the reason I have remained in this profession, and even at this age, I still continue to be passionately associated with teaching and research because it's an article of faith with me. And the reason for that is that if you do something that you enjoy doing, you never get tired. So therefore, it was my dream to be a faculty member, and that of course in IIT system, because I've been in IT and also I studied in IIT Kharagpur for my bachelor's and master's, doctoral from IIT Delhi while teaching. And therefore for these nearly now 58 years plus I've been in IIT. And the reason I joined teaching, because I was passionate about it right in my undergraduate days, and my only dream was to become a lecturer in IIT Delhi, which fortunately I became. And because teaching to my mind is not a job, it's not an employment, it's a process of the nation building. Through this, the future of countries are made through teaching and research, and therefore this happened to be my passion. I joined my passion, and because of that I have never ever felt tired. And the reason I did so that I might, as you mentioned, that I held various positions. I've been director in 2 IITs, Vice Chancellor in 2 universities, and Co-Chancellor now. I never gave up teaching. So even now I'm doing classroom teaching in NCU, I'm doing classroom teaching in IIT Delhi as honorary professor. And therefore, if you have something, if you have passionate about something, you never get tired, and that's what keeps me going. And God willing, I will be willing to do it as long as my health permits or the system permits me to continue this.
Sure, sir. That's great to hear. Yes. So now that like we mentioned earlier, the Pro-Chancellor of the NorthCap University, what is your philosophy of leadership, and how would you describe your leadership style?
Now, actually, the leadership style in academics is slightly different from the leadership styles of maybe some other more regimented systems. I believe, and I have practiced that way, that essentially the leadership style in academic institutions are of coordinative in nature and are inspirational in style. And therefore, to be an effective leader, you need to be one amongst equals, because almost all your colleagues are almost at par in terms of the intellectual caliber, and therefore setting examples. So I have always led by examples. For example, as I mentioned, irrespective of whether I've been a director of an IIT or a Vice Chancellor, I've always taught. I've guided research. I publish paper. I'm still publishing papers. I'm still teaching. I'm guiding PhDs. So you become a playing captain. And once you become a playing captain, you send an example to others, because if I can teach while still holding those positions, nobody can say that I have no time to teach, I have no time to research. So leading by setting examples and trying to carry people along, essentially, because what you do, people observe you. And therefore my style had been that I do myself what I expect others to do. For example, when it comes to punctuality, I've never been late in class or any meetings. Total transparency in the way I do things. Very democratic process of decision making. Very open, fair, and essentially very objective in assessing people. And with a positive attitude, try to inculcate a positive feeling and developing and nurturing people, because even with the relatively mediocre intellectual caliber, it's possible for a person to be nurtured to an outstanding level of intellect. And therefore, that has been my style in almost every places I have been. And fortunately, this style has worked, that wherever I have worked in all these institutions, people have always appreciated, and in many times, in fact, people are still remember me in the position that I held in the places that I worked long back.
Sure, sir. It's very inspirational. I'm sure people do hold you in high regard. So coming to the NorthCap University, so how does the curriculum of the NorthCap University ensure the best practice of industry?
Now, the actually being a state created private university, we have the flexibility of or autonomy of faster decision making, which is reflected in our almost very frequent updation of curriculum to suit the needs of the industry. And therefore, we have been very quick and very fast in updating our curriculum. And in the process of developing that curriculum, we involve people, experts from industry as well. So very outstanding people from elite institutions in the neighborhood. Unfortunately, our location in Gurugram is almost near Delhi. So we're able to get access to the outstanding people from IIT Delhi, JNU, Delhi University, and so on, to be member of the board of studies, as well as people from industry. And they collectively evolve a curriculum. And since we don't have to get it approved by any other agency, being a private university, we are very fast in doing so. But in the process evolving that curriculum, some of the guiding principles that govern this, irrespective of the branch in which we work, are we are given a reasonably good choice of courses by a policy intervention of a ratio between core and elective courses. We expect our students to have not only the subject of the domain knowledge of the area, but a relatively wider base beyond their own immediate domain, by giving open electives from other schools of management, law, and engineering. We focus on learning by doing. There is a lot of focus on project-based learning. There is a lot of focus in fact, in evolving the hands-on exercises. We also believe in industry interaction. Therefore, almost as a matter of policy, for every course there are guest lecturers from industry who are brought in to give their experiential inputs, to tell the students what is in and what's out in terms of the practices. And for whatever reason, the technological obsolescence is very fast, particularly in computers and electronic sector. And therefore, in involving industry through such guest lecturers, we also are able to know what are the upcoming frontier areas of knowledge that the university must be addressing. We are focusing on holistic development, so that our entire curriculum philosophy is based on total, complete holistic development in terms of knowledge, skills, and attitudes. And for that attitudes, we have created programs. We have, for example, the first university in the country to have set up a thought lab. This thought lab primarily is based on the idea that thought is a starter of all that you do. Because if you have a positive thought, your actions, your habits, everything, and therefore attitude is the So we created a thought lab with the support and inspiration from Brahma Kumaris, and a lot of our students are exposed to that, and therefore that negativity and stresses and other things are gradually reduced. So that these are initiatives. We also believe in giving futuristic courses. For example, the Industry 4.0 and some of the buzzwords that you have: cyber security, artificial intelligence, Internet of Things. All these are the programs, and there are courses that we are associating in our program. So we update that. Our content delivery, since long we have been working on learning management systems. All our classrooms are fitted with the LCD projection facilities, where almost using blended learning, using NPTEL and other resource learning materials, we supplement that. So the focus is on content delivery. We also have a lot of outreach interaction with the outside world through competitions and collaborations with students who participate, and many times they won even awards and laurels, so they can also compare where do they stand vis-a-vis other things. We are also very open to the international tie-up, but our efforts so far have not been that much as we would like to have, but we are on it in a big way, and therefore because of this, we believe that our curriculum and the manner it's delivered, evaluated, as I mentioned, we are 100% e-governed campus. Our entire examination process, everything, and on dot, we have never missed a deadline of examinations or meetings. We announce our schedule of meetings a year before, and dot on time, all meetings are held, all examinations are held, and results are very quickly announced.
Yes. Yeah, you have mentioned a lot of things there, and some of which I think we'll get into a little bit more detail in the coming questions.
Yeah.
Now, coming to any insights into how your university could be more welcoming to students of different races or economic backgrounds?
As you know that our university is created by the State Assembly Act of Haryana. So our domain is the Haryana, and therefore accept a constitutional obligation of admitting 25% students belonging to Haryana.
Okay.
We have total freedom to admit the remaining 75% from anywhere. And therefore, we are absolutely open in terms of from any part of the country, from any country, from any race, from any economic background. And in order to encourage a greater degree of diversity, we have initiated schemes of merit and merit cum means scholarships, so that in order to attract outstanding people, we have instituted schemes of giving 100%, 50% and 25% tuition fee waivers, so that a brilliant but a person belonging to the poorer section of the society can afford to study with us. We've also introduced merit cum means scholarships, and therefore, based on that, we're absolutely open in admitting people, and we'll definitely welcome person from anywhere. More the diversity, better, we'll feel comfortable with it.
Certainly, sir. That's great to hear. So now that you're part of the NorthCap University, sir, what do you think your roles and responsibilities to the university and the students are?
You see, as I mentioned, that I joined this university when it was ITM University. ITM University had a very major brand value, because as ITM we started in 1996, and I had joined as its Vice Chancellor, and for last 6 years or so I am Pro Chancellor. Now, the role of Pro Chancellor, as you know, is more of advisory in nature, and therefore I carry a 3 titles in my profile: Pro Chancellor, Professor Eminence, and Chief Mentor. And therefore, Professor Eminence and Chief Mentor are my academic roles, whereas I mentioned that I take regular classroom teaching every semester. I'm guiding research. I'm publishing papers. In fact, I've written books while I was working in ITM, fairly good circulation across the world. As a chief mentor, my role is to inspire and nurture the faculty members. And as a pro-chancellor, because a pro-chancellor is in somewhere between vice-chancellor and chancellor. And as a result, that role is advisory in nature. So, for example, I'm a member of the governing body and give my inputs to the policy formulation, a member of the academic council, a member of the academic advisory board, where we have outstanding people coming and giving us advice. And then I participate in the students' committees in terms of inspiring them. I'm a nominee of the governing body in all faculty selections to see that the best and the brightest available joins us as faculty members. So in all selection meetings, I'm a nominee of the governing body in terms of representing them in faculty selections. And then, since the role of a pro-chancellor is whatever is assigned to him by the chancellor, so sometimes in the absence of chancellor, I perform as chancellor, and any other job assigned to it, but that's more advisory in nature. So I'm reactive when it comes to pro-chancellor. I'm proactive when it comes to professor eminence and teaching research and adding publications.
Very well done. Now, yes. So now, what do you think should be the NorthCap University's top priority over the next 10 years? So, considering these changing times, you could please answer that.
Actually, our top priority would always be realization of our vision, because that was very thoughtfully evolved. And particularly in today's highly competitive, you know that because of a large number of private universities being created, the competition in this segment has increased enormously. And therefore, the major challenge for any university which has to fend itself in terms of its financial sustenance is to delight our customers better than our competitors do. And our customers being our students and the employers, ultimate customers are the employers of the society which absorbs them. And if our employers are excited about the quality of product that we produce, and we are able to have a very good placement, therefore our immediate concern is our students, who are not only our customers, they are our customers as well as our product. And therefore our focus to come out in such a stiff competition in this higher education segment is to focus on quality, employability, total transparency in the way we conduct our operations, and keep an interaction, collaboration with industry, which we are trying in our way. And therefore, but focus on quality and employability in order to remain relevant to the society has been our main concern. And it would remain so because these focuses do not change year after year. Once we evolve a vision and a focus, passionate about quality, obviously the challenge is to pursue it, to make it realized fully.
So when you, you could just this sort of a similar lines to the previous question. So when you first came to the NorthCap University, what was your vision for the university, and how has it evolved over time, and how far along the implementation of the vision are you?
See, as I told you that I had joined in September 2011 as Vice Chancellor, and I was the second Vice Chancellor because the first Vice Chancellor, after very briefly after being a Vice Chancellor, unfortunately he died, and therefore virtually my role as Vice Chancellor in this university has been almost from inception, because within a year or so of its becoming university, it became university in 2010. And I joined in 2011 as the second Vice Chancellor, because the first Vice Chancellor was there. We had a vision statement, but then I found that that needed to change. And therefore, as Vice Chancellor, I was playing a more leading, proactive role in, and a lot of transformational change we brought into the university. And many, since I had worked in IT system all through my life, and I'm still associated with IT Delhi, many of the changes of the in the curriculum, the processes, the doctoral programs, and other things we brought in, benchmarking with the best practices of IT Delhi. and IT Roorkee, where I was the founder vice director. Then we changed our vision statement and focused on many things and therefore the current vision statement that we evolved through a lot of deliberations and participation by all the departments, the faculty, the academic council, and the governing body became our vision statement. So we created a vision, mission, and core values, which indeed are now printed in almost all the publications that we have, in order to disseminate that, because the vision has to be it has to be a shared vision of everyone. So all our publications of the university, all our even noting pads, and the back sheet carries a vision, mission, and core values, so that there's a shared perception amongst it. So our current vision is quite different from what it was when I had joined, and this vision is, if you wish, I can state, is so good that perhaps it would really continue to inspire us for quite some time.
So what would you like people to know about the NorthCap University that they might not know?
Of course, NorthCap University, the name itself, I would want people to know,
Yes.
because earlier we were known as ITM University, and we became ITM University from ITM. ITM was Institute of Technology and Management, as an affiliated institute of MD University Rohtak. And because of our focus on quality, which has been all through there, we were a very top sought after destination for admissions to ITM. And ITM therefore was almost a household name in Haryana in terms of even in the government circles. So obviously we carried a brand image as an ITM University. Due to change in the title and became NorthCap University in 2015. It's about less than 5 years or so that we became a university. Since we are not very aggressive in publicizing ourselves, that has been our presence in media is relatively very modest, if any. Therefore, not many people know that this NorthCap University is the same as which used to be ITM University, because as ITM University we didn't have to tell anyone what we are and who we are, and therefore this one thing that we would like to tell everyone, that this NCU or the NorthCap University is what it was the ITM University in its previous avatar, and carries the same brand value, and our focus on quality and other things has further been refined and in no way diluted by the change of name.
Yes.
Number two, that we would want them to know that our focus, earlier we were giving merit means scholarships, but in order to attract brilliant people from even people who can't afford fees, we have introduced a fairly good number of merit scholarship exclusively on merit, and this hopefully would attract people, because now since in private university the fee structure is relatively higher compared to the government counterpart, and obviously affordability is an important issue, and in order to attract brilliant people who can't afford education in a private university, we have introduced this initiative where brilliant people who may not be able to afford the tuition fee, we are willing to give even up to 100% scholarship as a tuition fee waiver. And therefore that's something that people should know, because it's relatively a new initiative. Then ITM University's focus has been only on the professional. We have School of Engineering and Management and Law, and because of this multidisciplinarity in a professional context, there is an enormous advantage in studying engineering, management and law, because almost all problems of the society would have a bit of technology in it, would have managerial perspectives in it, and would have legal perspectives. And therefore this opportunity of having all the three important professional courses in the same university is an opportunity which indeed may not exist in a standalone engineering or a management or a law college. That we would like our people to know. We would also like to know that people to know that our entire focus has been student-centric, learning-centric, and our focus on employability and placement has been an important focus, and that's why year after year we are able to have sustained basis placement statistics, which is quite impressive. And people, because if we make people employable, our philosophy is that we focus on employability. If people are employable, they will get employment.
Yes.
But if they get an employment but are not employable, it's very difficult that they will be able to retain it. Such is the kind of the demanding times of competition in today. So that has been our focus on that. And we are a 100% e-governed campus. All our courses, classes, everything is 100% e-governed, and all our results, everything is on time. For example, even now through online classes, there are many colleges where semester has been rescheduled.
Yes.
We have completed our entire schedule of classes by completing exactly in the same manner online as it was to be done in a normal way. So we are able to switch over to this blended learning very easily because we had all the initiatives in place earlier.
That's great to hear, sir. Yeah. So again, building on that, sir, what do you see as the NorthCap University's greatest strength?
Our greatest strength is that we are a university which actually was passionate. It doesn't belong to a particular family or an individual owner. Mm-hmm. It's a group of people who volunteer together to come together to create this institution. So it's not an individual family-driven ownership. And therefore, there are people with different, even amongst the founders, there are people with different background, and therefore this gives a fairly good opportunity to debate our initiatives to go in the direction. And the common theme that binds us all is focus on quality and excellence, which indeed nobody would find fault with it, because that's what eventually would sustain. So because of that, we surely have focused on that, but fortunately our location also becomes our very major strength. We are just 2 kilometers from Delhi border and 30 minutes drive from Terminal 3 of Delhi Airport. As a result, we are able to get people, visiting faculty, lecturers, and experts. Our location in Delhi, we are able to tap onto the brilliant faculty members of IIT Delhi, JNU. We are able to attract fairly good quality faculty. So locational advantage is another very important feature. Ours is an extremely clean campus. In fact, for years we have been getting the Best Maintained Lawns Award from the Huda, as well as MHRD has given us the this earlier second cleanest campus in non-residential category this year, the 5th cleanest campus in the non-residential. So we are a very good world-class infrastructure, cleanliness, focus on cleanliness, and safety on campus. We have 70% of faculty are female, and 35% of our faculty are our students are female, which is a very large number.
Yes.
And because of that, this is reflected by the fact that because of this demographic mix, we are perceived to be an extremely safe campus, and we are a women-friendly campus. That's why we are able to have this. Discipline has been our major strength all through, because despite this 70% female faculty and 35% students, female students, we still have had an extremely trouble-free, incident-free campus year after year. Almost there never been instance of any ragging ever since inception.
That's great, sir. Yes. So, Apanga, what are some of the biggest challenges that you foresee, both for higher education in general in India and for the NorthCap University specifically?
Yeah, actually, this higher education sector, I'll first take that your question in that sequence. Higher education sector is having a major challenge in the context, in the sense that although there has been a quantitative expansion of the sector, there have been a large number of private universities, deemed to be universities, etc. So there has been a quantitative expansion, but the focus on quality and the availability of the most talented faculty members in the numbers that are required who actually love teaching and research as their first love. And to get such people has been a major challenge, and that's why we, in fact, since we have never compromised on the quality of faculty that we had, many times we find that we are not able to get the quality of faculty we are looking for, because in general, the faculty shortage, and that to talented faculty shortage, there may not be any dearth of the number of people who are willing to be employed as faculty, but the number of people who are actually competent to be employed as faculty has to be a critical parameter in the process of decision making. And therefore we need to nurture situations where the best and the brightest join teaching and research as first love. Our higher education system need to address those ground realities, so that access, equity and excellence, all the three things can be put together. Coming to specifics to the NCU, obviously the higher education challenges in terms of getting the best and the brightest as faculty continues to remain a challenge, and that, but fortunately, because we are very frequent in our holding our interviews, our bureaucracy in selections are relatively low. Our location is such that we are able to get candidates very quickly reach us. So we have very frequent interviews. We are all the time looking for faculty members, and therefore, but the challenge that actually keeps us also on our toes is the competition that has set in Haryana within the private university setup. See, when we were created as a private university under the State University Act of Haryana, we were the second university to be set up in a private sector in Haryana, OP Jindal Global University and the ITMU then. So we were in Gurgaon, we were the first private university to be set up, and carrying our image of ITM as a brand value. Therefore, we were able to have a very high degree of selectivity ratio of our students who could join us in our various programs. We could select better quality students because we were the only one in private university sector, second in Haryana and the only one in Gurgaon. And because of our rankings nationally, we carried that image. But in the recent times, because of proliferation of a large number of private universities, even in Gurgaon, there are about 12 private universities in Gurgaon alone. And therefore, since the total population of Gurgaon and Haryana or in the NCR is relatively limited who are willing to study in private universities, because still the top people would first like to study in IIT system, then NIT, because of the fee structure or the brand it goes with it. And therefore, out of the people who are willing to study in private university system, the challenge of all the private universities, including our competitors in Gurgaon, has increased. But since we didn't have a competitor earlier, we were the only one. We now have 12 other competitors in the system. So obviously, we have to be on our toes to attract the best quality students, and that's a challenge. Of course, that challenge also will also keep us on our toes. There's something which indeed is a challenge which we are working to improve our selectivity ratios substantially as it used to be earlier.
Yes, and it's refreshing to hear your emphasis on the quality of education to be provided. So moving on to the next question, sir. What are some plans that you're currently or will be designing for the NorthCap University with respect to international affairs for students?
Yeah, actually, the international, although as I mentioned that if you look at our vision statement, which is a very brief, it will give you that being international is part of our mindset. You say our vision says to be known globally for learning innovations, academic excellence, and socially relevant research outcomes. Strive to become the preferred destination for students, faculty, employers, and collaborators, and pride of the alumni and the community. So therefore, to be known globally is part of our vision statement. We would like to be. But we have the limitation of being a non-residential university, our location being a great location in the midst of a Huda colony. So it's a wonderful location. But by virtue of that location, our limitation is in terms of the space that we have, and therefore the number of hostels and the other residential facilities and guest house that we ought to have. we have that limitation. Because of that, despite our intention to have as many international students as we would like, this has not been realized, although we have fairly good degree of interaction with, we have a collaboration with ITV, Ireland, Michigan Technological University, and in fact a number of other universities, but the exchange of students, which we would expect it to be, and attracting the students from outside, because we have 15% quota for foreign students and NRIs in our admission process. We have also created even 5 extra seats for the COVID-19 warriors this year in every branch. So that's something new which that in order to respect people are contributing to helping the society. Yes. So NCU has introduced COVID-19 warriors, 5 seats in every branch, and they will be eligible for merit cum means scholarship as well. These students admitted to that route. So we have the intention, and therefore what we are working, we created an office of the Dean in International Affairs, and we'll be working passionately, because first we need to have a dedicated hostel for foreign students so that we are able to meet their expectations in terms of the quality of residence, food, and other. So that has to be put in place, and then we are working through the office of the Dean, through embassies. So it's in our plan to enrich this number to at least 1% of our intake every year must be comprising of foreign students outside. That's our intention, and we are working in that direction. And whatever it takes in terms of going through ICCR, reducing the fee structure, working towards the embassies to attract that. And if anyone can pass on the word that we are a good place to study, even outside India, I will be very delighted and grateful to them, because it's our intention to have them. And anyone who can help us to get them would be most welcome. Yeah. We can only guarantee the degree of satisfaction these students would have when they graduate with us.
Yes. Yeah. So just finally, sir, like we've reached the end of the interview. Any suggestions that you would like to give to the current youth and to the aspiring students?
No, in fact, the new the students who are actually we call them millennials now.
Yes.
They actually need to understand that when they choose a career or a branch of study, they should go in for something that excites them. They should choose a branch of knowledge that they love, instead of being governed by the crowd mentality. And this is what I am seeing, that because of the crowd mentality, that everybody wants to study, let's say, computer science, which is actually leading to a major problem of the imbalance in the engineering education across the country. Therefore, one must understand that engineering and technology would never become obsolete. It is through engineering technology that the development of a country takes place. And therefore, all branches of engineering would remain vital, would remain relevant, and therefore they should understand their intrinsic physical, mental, and intellectual calibers and preferences, and choose a branch of study in which they would excel. And I believe that if you excel, it doesn't matter what you study. Studying whichever branch, if you excel, I would make you employable, and you'll be at the peak of your career. So do what you love, and love what you do. That definitely. So therefore, don't be governed by the crowd mentality that everybody is studying. In that case, the system suffers, the balanced development of engineering education suffers, and even computer science may suffer, because if you have a large number of people, the competition in employment there itself would be somewhere increased. So therefore, civil engineering, mechanical engineering, electronics and communication engineering, and other branches of engineering will never be out of fashion. Civil engineering is synonymous to development, infrastructure, and therefore my advice to them would be they should be as passionate in opting for civil engineering, mechanical engineering, electronics and communication engineering, because that would be always required in the process of development of country, in addition to, of course, the information technology and computers. So therefore, go in for something that excites you, and not because somebody else is going in that branch, because the skill sets and the preferences may be different.
Okay.
And if you focus on employability, employment would come. And employability is a function of attitude, knowledge, and skill. So focus on holistic development, learning, applying that knowledge to solve problems in society with a positive attitude, because with a positive attitude, you can find solutions to every problem. And if you have positive attitude, you will always be employable. So therefore, that's my advice to the generations.
I'm sure that's a very inspiring message for all aspiring students. But I had a great time talking to you, getting your thoughts on all of this. Yes.
Thank you very much. Thank you. All the best. Take care.
Thank you.